Hello, and welcome to DooM WAD Travelogue. I'm Nick, and this is a show where we say just because it is not a great idea to be going out right now doesn't mean we can't still explore new and interesting spaces. We'll just do it in the form of community-built DooM WADs and level packs. Now, I was thinking, why do I even have an intro to this show? This is a show about Doom, this is a show about places. It's like, how come I don't just, start the show and because some shows, some podcasts or whatever, it's like part of that intro ramble. It's like, and on today's episode we cover blah blah blah, and then the like casuals part starts. um I don't do that. And I know part of it is because I always feel like I need to sort of like justify whatever I've picked for today's episode, or maybe if not justify, at least give some sort of like context or background, or maybe a little bit of the pitch on it, to sort of how we arrived there. And then I was thinking, hey, do we really need that? I mean, we can just look at it. Usually that's fine. We can wrap it into while we're playing it. We can talk about that. Some of them that's very self-evident. Um, And then I was thinking, well, maybe that's not the reason. Maybe the reason is because I think I'm interesting and I think it's more important, it's my reasoning that I think is important enough to share. And that's probably true. I am quite a bit of a narcissist. I'll, straight up admit it. Um, I don't think that that's solely it, and I do think it still works because while this is a show about the exploration, about the exploring, about seeing something new and hopefully novel, um, this the show's also always been as much about the excuse to hang out, the excuse to have a friendly voice around, right? Um, it's with the original intent of lockdown. It wasn't just it was, hey, we're stuck at home, but let's see new places. But at the same time, it was like, hey, we're stuck at home, isolated. So here's something we can do. Here's someone you can invite in, and we can go out together in this virtual way. So I think there's also that element of it. It's less I do it because I think I'm interesting, and more because I want to give you something interesting in case it's too quiet, in case it's lonely, in case it's whatever. I don't know if I'm successful at that. Let me be clear, but I think that is the reason why I keep this sort of casual chat, catch up, intro, rambling section going on. Um, Also, because um, my influences on hosting pretty much entirely came from Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which in itself is entirely sort of dredged in the history of late night talk show segments, and a host always has a monologue at the beginning of the show. All right, usually they're funny. I probably don't have that part, but you start with this, you go into a bit, and then you get to the meat. Sometimes the bits are the meat. I'm, I'm not gonna lie. I always cared about the bits before the guests come out on the talk show because I ain't interested in people, which is why I have trouble making friends. Listen, we can get into there's a lot of ways we could go right now, but we're gonna go to the game. But I do want to just add one more point. Um, I finally, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, congratulations. That's what I always intended. The fact that I record these live was basically it was like a bonus for. Ooh, sorry. It's like a bonus for people who show up to the live show that they get to see it live and maybe have a little interaction with it. B is because when I do things, when I pre-record things by myself in a closed environment, the perfectionism brain takes over, and I never finish it. I'll restart it a dozen times and go, none of these work, and let me edit. By the final, I have 25 takes, and I'm cutting like individual words to build sentences that sound right. And doing it live, I don't have room for that, so we just steamroll through. And honestly, that's done is better than perfect. And if recording live gets me to done without getting me to perfect, that's fine. It's better that way. Um, but all that being said, like I said, if you're watching on YouTube archives, hello, welcome. I hope your day is going okay, whatever day you're watching this. But for those who do show up and watch live, I have something to introduce, which is that I finally made emotes. Oh, look at that. So if you hang out live, I'm just gonna throw these in here. I made a handful of emotes. That's too many. That made them small. I do like sleepy. I do like sleepy. Um, because I feel like I might make a couple more, but I get the I get the use case for emotes, which definitely I don't need to answer that because there's why is my phone even ringing? Um, I hope that's not messing with the mic. Let me kill that. At first I didn't make emotes for two reasons. At first I didn't make emotes because there is like a culture of like emote spam and like people like to be loud, people like to be in on like the in joke of the community, and I never really like that thing. Like I never really want to have in jokes because as soon as you have a vocabulary unique to the community and then is commonly used by the community, that begins soft gatekeeping because if someone new approaches and they don't know the vocabulary, but also it is such that you know but the vocabulary is in use, that is like an immediate soft form of othering, not even intentionally, but it happens. And honestly, that's happened to me enough in my life. I hate it, so I want to avoid it. But on the other hand, I'm also somebody who likes to respond, but doesn't always like to put that into words because, I mean, God, this was back in the DeviantArt days where, you see like, hey, I like this picture. And you would see some people could do that and they could write that on 100 different submissions and they could mean it every time, and that's fine, that's great. Me, I always felt too silly, and it's just like, I'm not saying anything of use, you're not hearing anything of use. I do like it, but this isn't doing anything productive. It's sort of like the feeling of it the there is there's so little being expressed here that putting words to it is almost overkill. I think that's kind of the feeling I always had. Um, and here's how you might feel about that. I just want to keep them up on screen. Listen, I worked on these last night late, and I got them all done in one sitting, and I'm very happy with them and proud of them. So this is my excuse. Um, but so all that being said, when words are overkill, I do absolutely believe that like there is still something to express, and I think symbolism you know, can do that, because like sometimes a symbol or a gesture or an expression, like they have fuzzy definitions, Um, so there's this way of like, hey, I want to express something, but it's not something that can be sort of distilled down into a word to encapsulate it. But I mean, like me, uh, is that going to do anything? Uh, yeah, I'm gonna look for one. This is probably like the emote emoji, whatever you want to call it, that I use most often. It's just like thumbs up because like thumbs up, that's good, support, keep going, whatever. It can mean a lot of things. But I don't have to like pick one of those and I don't have to say all of them. And it's one of those where like any of those meanings, I am okay expressing any to all of them. And if you pick up on any to all of them, then that's still what I mean, right? So there's this weird like the fuzziness is part of what I'm trying to express. Um uh The other reason I didn't use them, I didn't make them for so long, was just like I didn't trust my own artistic sense enough to be able to create something that small that could still read and look good and cute and all of that. But I think I did a really good job. And if you subscribe to the channel, don't. But if you subscribe, honestly, there's I do have the unlock random emotes thing. So if you don't know what to do with your channel points, do that. Um, I did make sub versions, but all of the subscriber versions are just the same thing, but with the Doom helmet on, which I makes me laugh because that's a dumb joke. Um, it's a dumb joke that I think is really good. Uh, Man, okay, so this also goes back to DeviantArt days, but I've always had trouble with fan art because in my head, um, what you are doing by doing that is you're hitching your wagon to somebody else's wagon train, right? Like it's just like, oh, okay, um, you made this great thing. I like it. I want to express my like for it. But if you get known as fan artist for this other thing, then like your identity is tied to their existence, and I don't know, that always felt like that puts you at the whims of this other thing. What if that goes away? What if that stopped being popular? What if the creator of that thing turns out to be some sort of horrible person, and now suddenly, oh, you're the fan artist for that thing? Oh no. And there's like a lot of ways that can go wrong. You're like very much putting yourself not in control. I mean, it also helps that that's not like fan art is not the way I really express my enjoyment of something. That is not a way I partake in enjoying that thing. So, but nevertheless, um, so I'm really hesitant to make Doom versions of all of these because, of course, what am I doing then? Well, I'm tying my identity to Doom. But I do have to admit, more than half of the time I spend streaming is playing Doom. I can't deny that fact. And also, it's a dumb joke, and between those together, it's fine. But that's also why I made a subscriber, because I want them to be the sort of like less used, less focus on of the set. But they're there if you're into that sort of thing. If you like a joke, if you like a gag. Um, and now that I've shown all, like, it feels like promoting, but you're here. I don't know. I just worked on that. Like I said, it's there's been a big build up over things like emotes for a long time. Because and I was talking about this on Twitter a couple weeks ago. But like, I don't consider myself a streamer. I consider myself the host of a live streamed show. Right? Like I said, my original conception for the show was it is something you watch on YouTube. The fact that I've recorded live is sort of like a byproduct of other necessities, right? Um, so the idea of like buying in and like, oh, I'm gonna get custom emotes and this and that and sub banners and we're gonna welcome the subs at the end. Like, I have no interest in any of that. I don't want to partake in that. And kind of thing is like, oh, well, if you want to get popular as a streamer, you got to do these things. It's like, I don't want to get popular as a streamer. I don't want to do these things. I don't want to become the thing that doing those things would make me, you know? Um, so there's this weird, like, okay, well, then I never need stream emotes. But also, I just want to draw cute faces. And, what I was just saying about, like, having the sort of, like, nonverbal ways to express that are sort of, like, customized and sort of the fact that I make them means that I can choose which ones we want to do. So that's why there's actually maybe like one or two more I've been thinking about. But like, I doubt you. I'm angry. I'm shocked. I'm sleepy. All I need one is like cheer on or thumbs up support. And I think I'll have the full set. I think that's the only one I'm really missing. I made these late last night. I was tired. It is what it is. Um, but yeah, I'm happy with those. Let me throw um Yeah, those two together. Uh, Good. Now there, I showed off the thing that I'm happy and excited about. I hope you like them. Now let's get on to the regular part of the show. And so, okay, so that's the other thing. Like I said, I was thinking about intros. I was thinking about how, as much as this is a show about the exploration and looking at stuff, it's always been fine to just go off on tangents, and I'm just going to ramble a bit and talk about something I'm excited about, talk about something I think is important. Just sort of like talk to fill space, to fill air, to be a friendly voice who's hopefully interesting, but that's not top priority. Um, and all that being said, like I think it is fine to have this tangent today because we already know what we're playing. Because we are playing. There we go. Oh, I only just now checked the mic. I'm so glad it's been on this whole time. Um, Today we are playing Monster Hunter Limited Part 2. So, a direct sequel to last week's map. Um, and since we already knew what it was, that's the entirety of the context. I still wanted to have something to talk about in the intro, so we have this nice little sort of warm up. So, ooh, we're going to get cozy and just talk for a while. But yeah, so last week's was really interesting. It was nice because it was sort of like it had combat all throughout, but it was also not necessarily combat focused. There was as much, if not more, focus on sort of set decoration, creating believable environments, um, sort of the adventure gameplay design. Like I said, the tricks and traps and switches and levers style of DooM level design. So I was super excited to play that. I hear this one is a bit more combat focused, but also like thinking back on the last one, I have a feeling that it was very like rolling forward design. And you could see the part, we looked in at the end, and there looked like there were some pieces that were intended to be a continuation, and they just cut it in half. So hopefully some of the things that we looked at the very end last week using no clip and whatever, hopefully now we'll actually get sort of like a peek at what they were meant to become, and have those have been realized here. Um, the point is, I'm excited. So let me switch this over. Woo! I still like that moving. I still like that moving transition. I'm happy I got that working. Okay, new game. If this is your first show and you stuck through the whole rambling intro, thank you. Um, I would be a little surprised by that, honestly. But also, this is a show about exploration, not about challenge. So we always play on the easiest, and if we run into things, rather than bash our heads against the wall, we'll use cheats, we'll use debug. Sometimes we'll use it just for fun to look for interesting things. Heck, we've dropped into level editors before to specifically see how like walls and switches are wired up to figure out how secrets work. Which is way better than just looking them up. I love doing the work to figure it out. Here we go. Okay. Good morning. Right, so this is the room that we ended in. Oh, the blankets are more disturbed. All right, giving us a shotgun start. I like that. Hey, is that new? Might be new. This is what said exit last time. TV was off last time. Still a good TV. All right, flat screen. Yeah, 2014 flat screen. This button quit last time. Ooh, that's fancy. That's a fancy effect. Now, does that look like space we're going to be able to explore this time, or is that the same? Oh, we've changed from the starry night and everything on fire to a sunrise, and only that window over there seems to still have fire in it. Oh, wait, a little bit there. That's a burning barrel, but barrels burn forever. I'm not gonna count that. Oh, don't like the meat chair. Actually, I don't remember that mirror being there. I don't remember this stuff being here, but also I don't think I looked at it that closely last time. Wow! I assumed our home would be safe. There's no way Reach could fall. Uh-oh, John. Oh, those alien bastards are gonna pay for busting up my TV. Okay, so now are these individual wall segments that are set at different heights? Oh, no. Okay, no, I'm pretty sure that is 3 segments next to each other that through the stacking effect. Ooh, but then the end caps are real? Oh, that's smart. The end caps are real to hide the layering effect. This guy's right out here. Ooh. Excuse me. Don't. Yeah, this is what we saw last time. No dog down there. Okay, rockets though, so I have a feeling. Yeah, this seems like maybe we're gonna go down and around. Okay, there's an imp somewhere over there. Clearly. Oh, the yellow keycard is gone. Bathroom? No, because last time the bathroom didn't even have room to be built in. Is that normal or are those torn? I can't tell. And then this goes right out. Oh, and there's the dead dogs from the end. The consistency here. No, my fish! No! Too rude. Oh, the one tentacle on the floor. That's gross and a nice touch and a interesting use of an existing texture. No, my fish. These alien bastards are gonna pay for busting up my fish. Why do I feel like I need to quick save already? We looked at everything here, right? So I do love as a oh boy, I called the last one something dumb based on here. I called it Rathalos Rampage. This one will be Rathalos Rampage 2. Oh, even the lighting on the floor is different? This is very well detailed and decorated. And yeah, just the it's the before and after effect, right? Like and I've been thinking about this a lot lately too, but like the consecutive scenes in whatever you're doing, if you want there to be a sense of progression and connection between everything, the idea is like you don't want to write your scenes and then this happens and then this happens. You want therefore this happens. You want like it's like, oh, like so that's the very thing here. It's like, oh, the invasion is coming, therefore you've been invaded, therefore everything's been broken. Like the logical progression of like, well, okay, if this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and we're seeing all of the things that have changed, you know, an event, a plot point, whatever, like changes have occurred. If a thing happens, it will make things change, you know? I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it. Okay, so no key. Okay, hello. Alright. I probably want to stay out of view of that chain gunner. Spider? Here. Okay, we got a decent loadout to start. Oh, that's a lot more space over there than there was. Okay, so are we gonna go back into the office that we ended in last time, or are we just gonna sort of walk past it and only deal with this city? I'm fine with either one. I want to know what was behind that yellow skull door. Oh, the monster area is open now. Okay, I see what's going on here. No! Those alien bastards are gonna... No, I don't really care that they busted up my office. Listen, man, as long as the check still clears. Is this still? Yep. Yeah, it still doesn't look like there's much room behind there to put anything. This is where we put the painting last time. Whoop! I was gonna say, here's the armory. Looks like bad things have happened in here. Oh, let me in. There was a button, wasn't there? Yes. If you want that plasma gun, they're gonna make you earn it. Again, perfect example of what I talk about, right? Like, show the thing that you want, have a clear way to get to it, and then the players, when the player acts to get the thing they want, that's what triggers the bad things, you know? Oh, why does it look so old in here? We'll take these. Does this go anywhere? No. Probably good. Alright, skip the cleaning phase. Okay. That's still happening. Alright, check this out. I'm gonna quick save. Something's opening. You hear that, right? That. Okay. Not actually tied to a walk trigger over here. Fine. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go here. I'm going to give myself all the keys. I'm going to open this. Okay, there is something actually behind here. So, I'm going to reload before I gave myself the keys. And we're going to just have to remember that it is possible to get in there. Okay? I'm excited about that. What? Rude. Okay. So that's going to leave us out up there. That's good. I mean, I love the detail work to get these planter boxes. I just really appreciate it. Also, just the fact that this is a texture pack that has, like, some living leafy plant in it. Alright. I guess we're going to have to go into the monster area. Maybe the whole idea is the, you know, what it's trying to intimate, suggest, have us infer? Right? Because infer is... What is it? I still don't know if this is true because I only have remembered anyway. But I thought there was something about, like, you cannot, as, like, the message conveyor, infer something. You cannot put a message in to be inferred. Inferring is only something that happens on the, like, the receiver end. Like, inferring is reading info out of a message that wasn't part of the message, right? So if it wasn't part of the message, then the message sender can't put it in there. Not that inferring is like a passive action, but it's something... Message recipients can infer. Message senders, they can't include something that is intended to be inferred. They can only put in content. Like, the whole point of inferring is that it was, you know, it is sort of intuiting, logicking out content that wasn't included, info that wasn't content, you know? I forget, I don't know if that's a real thing. I don't remember where I heard it. I don't know if I even completely buy that logic. But my gut says that there's a version of that that makes sense. Oh, okay, there's the key. Boy, where did we see that from before? Because it's pretty blocked here. We can see it up here. Alright, if we went down here, we could see it, but I didn't go down there. I started going up there. Okay. Okay. Oh, boy. Nope, don't switch the chain gun. That's what I don't have. I had like one bot. Right, that's not blue key, that's a switch. What? Okay. So now that's interesting. Have the button do what something else has done so that you can see what change has been made, something raised. But it you see sort of like a proxy of the action, not the one that is going to be most important to you. Oh, hello. Okay. Well, okay. It's fine. I have one of these. See, this is what I'm talking about. See, like, there was a bigger group in there. I've really only had to deal with 2 of them, and I probably could have waited and only dealt with 1 of them. But that's not interesting. That's not necessarily fun. And I don't think having more enemies means you're more combat focused. I think if you have a more... Okay, so I'm going to have to drop something else too, huh? I have no idea. And you know what? It's cool. It's at least giving us the hints, and we can start like piecing things together, but it's still forcing us to explore. And I don't have a problem with that. That's what I really liked about the part 1, you know, is that explore was one of the main verbs. Not... Oh, God! Hey, my mans. Oh, I hope I have battery. I wish I had that. Okay, good. He fell. Now it's just this guy. I don't even have the big shotgun, so I just... Okay. Okay. That was rough. This drops it the rest of the way. I figured it would have to, because that's why we have this one-way drop-down, right? But also, there's more stuff over here. That's the one thing that that drops, doesn't it? Yep. I want to say that's like the one thing that I think... Oh, weird. That I think JRPGs got absolutely right is that your main path should probably be your shortest path, but also not your only path. You should have longer paths that have more interesting stuff on them, but are also optional, because that's what makes exploring rewarding, right? It's just like, hey, you don't need to be here, but you can be here. And oh, you put in the effort? All right, here we'll reward that effort. I thought there'd be something more interesting over here. I'd love to be up there. See, these bars, you think these bars will open if we hit a certain switch or something? This is around this side, but we can't... Well, okay, we could. No, we can't. It's blocked on this side by the streetlight. Okay. And you are the ladder back down. Oh, right, we got the thing. I should definitely save having the soul sphere. All right, let's get this. Oh, did that say something? No, it doesn't really look like letters or anything. I'm shocked that didn't set something off. Okay, so we dealt with this area. So now it's going to give us access to the yellow key door, which I've been wondering about since last map. I'm excited. See, this is the kind of thing. What? This is what I always talk about. Like, you can do it with a locked door, you can do it with items, you can, something you can pick up, but just like, as long as you say, hey, here's something you could interact with, it makes me go, I want to interact with that. When do I get to interact with that? Wait, how do I do that? And as soon as the player is asking, wait, how do I do that? That's when you've got them hooked. It's like, hey, here's the thing that obviously you should be able to interact with, but it's like, how do I do that? Where do I get around with? Like, that's why I think sometimes the secrets that are like walls that you can interact with directly, but they're unmarked or subtly marked, I don't think they're that interesting because it doesn't make you ask that question. Same with like, like the secret doors where like you trigger them, but you can kind of only hear them, or a switch that you hit and you have no idea what it opened somewhere else. I don't think those are necessarily interesting because it's like, I've done the thing and it appears nothing happened, and that's the same kind of thing. It doesn't get that same kind of question. You do get the question of what did that do, but I don't think that question grabs as well. The idea of like, here's a button just out of reach. It is clear what you do. It is clear because so you hit a button. For me at least, it's always been about clear next steps, right? So you hit a button, you don't know. The way it would go is you hit a button, it opens a door, you go through the door. Or it lowers a platform, or it whatever, right? And those are the steps. You hit a button, if you don't see the door it opens, if you don't see the platform it lowers, if you don't see the ladder it reveals, if you don't see any of those things, you don't have that clear next step. But when you see a locked door, when you see a button that'll open a door, you go, I know the next step is press that button. And then it's just like, I want to press that button. Because not only do you know where it is, and it's sort of like knowing a step further away. It's like you have where you are now, the step of pressing the button. And when they're immediately next to each other, okay, you just kind of do it. But when there's a step in between which is unclear, that becomes the question. That becomes a gap to fill in. It's not, and that's different from like, I hit a button and something changes, but that's a question that's at the end, So it becomes like a branch, like, oh, we could go figure it out, but who knows how long it is. It could be a dead end. It could be whatever. There's something you don't know about. But when I'm here and 2 steps away is this obvious thing I know what to do, is this button to press, that leaves a step in between that is the question, and I've always found those to be those are the questions that get their claws in me. It's like, no, I can't stop this until I figure out what that step is. And I think same with a locked door, because right, I have it now. But when a door says you need the yellow key, then it's like, okay, where I am, something, get the yellow key, open this door. Same thing. These 2 steps of I'm going to get the key somewhere and the key will let me open the door. But this one of where do I go to get the key, that becomes this big mystery. And that's to me and I don't know, for some reason that's the one that like, I could tie this into Super Mario World again. I don't know if it's as appropriate to bring it up here, but it is that idea of making a game feel bigger. Making the game feel bigger, leaving questions unanswered, right? The more questions that are left unanswered, I think the bigger the game feels at the end of the day. The more things you don't figure out on a playthrough, but still manage to get to the ending. I always bring up Mario World because to me that's Star Road. That's all the secret exits. That's, what was it, 196 exits, but what's the minimum that you need to get to the end is only like 120. So it's just like, wow, there's a lot of that game that is optional, that is, your reward for exploring. And that one is kind of weird because like the reward is the shortcut to the ending, is your ability to beat the game faster with less steps, something to that extent. I don't. It's weird. I don't know if that would hold up today. I mean, also when you look at the actual like history of it, Star Road and Mario, and the idea of the thing that you are being rewarded with is shortcuts through the game is the same as Mario 3. The game tells you where earlier on there were warp whistles, which lets you skip further through the game, and even in Mario 1, I don't know if it told you in the game that the warp zones existed, but like it's the same kind of thing. It's like, oh, you want to get straight to, zone 3 or 4 or get back to where you were, you go to the warp zone, right? And like there's also the interesting history with like those are actually like debug tools that, because being the ability to skip through the later levels of the game is also interesting. It is useful as a tool for testing game for the developers, but the idea of having this like built-in like checkpoint system, password system, progression skipping, level select kind of system, having that built in, but the only thing preventing you from accessing it is knowledge, and knowledge is pretty easy to give in a game, whether it's through symbolism or instructions. Like these days we know how to put tutorialization in the game. Sometimes we do it too heavy, sometimes we do it nicely, but the idea of like games giving knowledge is like always the first step of games, whether it's through just telling it to you or letting you play with something until you figure out what's possible, and then locking the door until you have figured out what they want you to figure out as possible, and then that's what lets you progress, right? Like I was playing something the other day, when we were playing the Looker the other night, that was, yes, it's the Witness, but it's the Witness very very condensed into a way that makes sense. And it's just like, hey, we're gonna let you play with these safe ones, and it worked the same as like, when people always talk about Mario levels, about like, hey, you're introduced to this mechanic, you're given a safe way to introduce it, and then you're given, or a safe space to play with it in, and then you were given a dangerous space to play with it in, and the safe space lets you practice, and the hard space is the sort of skill gate to make sure that you have learned it and figured it out, right? And then when you've proven that, when you beat that challenge, you've proven that you figured it out, then we move on and give you different challenges, which again, same thing, space to learn it and sort of figure it out and master it, and then to defeat it, you need to have proved that you have figured it out and mastered it, right? Whether that's a puzzle or whether that is the basic ability of like run and jump and shoot. I got off on a tangent. I was talking about questions. Right. So the thing that I can't explain, because you got to be aware of what you don't know as well as what you know, is I don't know why the sort of open-ended branch grips less than the missing middle step. I don't know why that's the case, because you would think, oh, an open-ended branch, oh, this could go on forever, why doesn't that make the game feel bigger? And I think it's this, like I said, I think it's kind of the idea that is harder to recognize as a path to go down. It is easier to recognize a missing middle step than it is to recognize a missing end step. Which makes sense in terms of why one grips you more than the other. And maybe that's the tie to it, right? Because like a game, the questions, if the questions and like the sort of like knowledge that you're clearly missing something is what makes the game feel bigger, you have to be aware that you're missing something to get that feeling that there's more there, right? So if an open-ended branch doesn't really hit you that there's something there, then it's also not going to hit you that there's more there. Where like a missing middle piece, like even though you kind of see like where that ends, the question has gripped you more, and therefore the concept of there must be something I'm missing hits you more, and the idea that there's something missing implies that there is more. It could be something like that. Maybe that's just the way my brain works. It could just be it personally works for me that way. But that is a thing that I love in games. Any game that makes me think. Actually, the open-ended thing, the branching path that you don't notice, we do see that a lot, and it is cool when it happens. But I always find that happens out of the game. Because now I'm actually thinking of examples, I think of EG, and because that's where it happened for me. But also, that is kind of what Dark Souls was all about, right? Or what a lot of people liked about it at the beginning. This idea of like Dark Souls is all open branches. You don't know anything going into that, right? It's when you talk with other players, and sometimes the thing that lets you know there's more in a game is talking to somebody and realizing that they did something completely different that you didn't even realize was possible, right? I think that's part of it. When it's just like if you see all the steps and then suddenly there's no more steps, that could be interpreted as a dead end. Misinterpreted, sure, but that could be interpreted as a dead end, and so you ignore it. Whereas when you see a missing gap, that says, okay, there is a gap, there is a piece that fits there. When the gap is at the end, it's just like, oh, it might just end there. I think that's the difference between the questions, why they feel different. And because like with EG, we talked about that on the podcast long time ago, and it wasn't until we were on the podcast talking about our game experiences going like, wait, this, you didn't have that fight? The conversation went how for you? And just like realizing you don't notice things you don't know about. You don't notice things you don't notice. That's a tautology, but like that is kind of thing. If it feels complete the way you went, it feels complete. It doesn't feel like there were pieces missing. When there's a gap in your complete understanding, that lets you know something was missing. It is, and to be clear, when you have those conversations with people and you realize that there's this whole other side to things that you did not even realize was there, that is great. That is that same level of just like, wait, what else is in this game? And it's this crazy wild thing. But like, I think that's why that part of Dark Souls never hooked me, because it is all of this open end, missing branches approach on it. Where the one that always worked for me was the missing gap that works for me way harder, because that's the difference, right? When a game sort of fails to tell you, or maybe not fails, but like the game can leave all the branches open to you, but it can sort of fail to get its hooks into you. And I think that's because the hooks of those missing branches are actually on missing gaps, right? Because if I have an experience that feels complete, I feel like I have a complete experience. I have no lingering questions. I move on. If I have an experience that is filled with like gaps around the edges, I go, well, I finished it, but there's a lot of holes to fill in. Like that's the thing, right? It's like it's about recognizing like the border of your knowledge, right? Because if there are branches you miss, it's not a hole, it is on the outside. There is still a clean border to your knowledge. But if this border of your knowledge has holes in it, those are what jump out, because you recognize holes. You don't necessarily recognize that the borders of your knowledge could go further, because how would you know about missing space? That missing space is outside of your knowledge. But when the missing space is inside the borders of your knowledge, you go, that's a missing space, that's a question. And this map and this door are interesting because that question, that gap was implied, or that gap was left in the last map. Cheating, because the answer was, actually, no, this door is lying to you. You can't get through this door. You can't get the yellow key. So there's this, but it made it feel open, right? Because it's, I think this really varies person to person. Or maybe it's different because it's a game telling you this and it's authored and whatever, but like, I don't assume game mechanics lie to me. So if you tell me there's a door I can open with a yellow key, I begin working on the assumption that there's a yellow key I can get and there's going to be something behind that door. But we looked last time and we got all the keys and we did. It was like, no, there's nothing here and there's no yellow key that exists on this map that you can get. There was a decorative one, but that's it. Gosh. But it's still, like, it felt like a gap in knowledge, right? Like, one that didn't feel filled until I used debug and cheats and whatever to get the answer of, oh, it's lying to me. But it still worked. It still made it feel like, oh, there is much more here. And, like, maybe it wasn't lying, but maybe the answer was, oh, there is much more that will be here. It is not here yet, because like, we just got the yellow key, we just opened the door. This is cool. I would call this kind of amazing. I am so psyched now to find out what's beyond that door, because now the gap has been filled in. At some point a locked door is okay, that's interesting. A locked door, the reason why key doors work better is because a door that is closed and you cannot open, there's a difference of this door is inoperable and this door is locked. Because locked doors can be unlocked, right? There is a sort of implied step there. See, again, can you imply something or... No, that was infer. You can imply, but you can only infer... I'm still not sure about that one. We'll come back to that another day. But like you can sort of, it implies that there's a second step, right? It's like, if the door is locked, the door can be unlocked, compared to this door is sealed, period. There's nothing further to know about it. There's no sort of reason to believe that state will change. Depending on how... This also really relies on like reserving vocabulary, because if every sealed door you just say is locked, and then you get this weird thing where it's like, okay, well now locked doesn't imply unlocked, but that also means if some of the locked doors you can unlock, then how are you going to know? You might miss that because you might not be checking for doors you can unlock at that point, because you learned that locked means solid state, I had one point I wanted to wrap around to, and I just talked myself around it. Right, the dead end. So there is something about like a locked door, when the vocabulary has been established that implies the door can be unlocked. That, no, I think that still leaves a gap, because like where you are, unlock the door, how to unlock it is still that missing middle step, but it's not like every closed door implies space beyond it, right? So there is these odd of like, there's some gaps are more obvious than others, and some gaps imply more beyond it. And doors are that, because doors imply traversing between spaces, right? So it's just like, oh, if there's a door, that is sort of the danger with decorative doors, right? Because if every door is functional, then you go, oh, door implies new space beyond it. Okay, if you have decorative doors, there's no reason to expect that, because doors don't mean that, There's this really weird thing of like using, we talk a lot about it with visual sort of vocabulary and talk and as using that as a way to let players know things. But you can also do that with just like object vocabulary about like what's decoration, what's interactive, what's meaningful, like. And you look at a lot of those, original Doom maps, and there's one decorative door, and it's the door you come in, right? It's really a marker of the start point more than it is a door. And again, they reserve the like texture of that door for that purpose, and they go out of their way to be like, this isn't actually a door, this is your start point. Everything else is doors, right? I think I mean, they also do it with exit doors too, right? So when you see a door across the way, you know if you're seeing the exit door or just another regular door. That's also a smart thing they can do, because again, you reserve vocabulary, whether it's visual or lingual or mechanical or whatever. You reserve vocabulary for expressing certain ideas, and that helps you express them clearly and be able to sort of establish patterns. It's like, oh, if you see the exit, there's going to be a button behind it that will end the level. Like, you can establish that pattern, which then gives you the ability to subvert that pattern or use that pattern to, sort of rely on the player recognizing those patterns and then, breaking it or whatever, right? Breaking it or using it in weird ways, right? I'm surprised I was not a communications major, because the number one thing I learned from game design is that clear communications is actually key to so many things. Weirdly, that actually came from probably the psych side of what I learned in school. That like no, people are not random, but a lot of people have blurred definitions compared to other people, so it seems like people act randomly. But if you put people essentially in a Skinner box or like in a brand new game, and they all sort of, and you teach them everything about this game, this box, brand new, then you can teach them the same, you can teach them clearly. And when you teach them the same and clearly and give them everything you need to know, then they do behave pretty similarly. If you're trying to do something where you're relying on patterns they have learned in the outside world, then they're going to act randomly. But if you are asking them to rely only on patterns that you have instructed them on, and that they would be able to sort of complete in a vacuum of the outside world, then they're actually pretty consistent. It's so interesting to me. It makes me so frustrated that people don't exist in a vacuum, and we do have people who come from like an unfathomable amount of backgrounds and contexts and sort of collections of life experiences that make up unique people. It makes every person different, and having to adjust for every difference every person has is exhausting. I don't know, maybe that's me. Door questions, implied next steps. I don't know. It is just so satisfying to see this door answered, because this door set up a question by use of reserved Doom mechanical vocabulary that wasn't answered before and is being answered now. It's kind of like the and then thing I was talking about before. Like, you should not have scenes that are and then and then and then. You should have therefore, therefore, therefore. And this is weird because it's kind of like a don't forget about, right? Like, it's kind of the same thing. There is a door that you can unlock, therefore there's something on the other side of it. And we are finally seeing what's on the other side of it. And that is like, we are finally answering that question. We are finally like getting to fulfilling the promise earlier that was promised earlier. It says there is something more here. We're finally getting to it, and that makes it so satisfying. Now let's get to it. What's behind here? A guy. Okay. So here's the thing. I think a lot of times the answer doesn't even have to be satisfying. It is the receiving the answer that the satisfaction comes from. Because we're playing Doom. What's going to be behind any door? More guys, more staircases and hallways and rooms, probably the same textures we've been seeing all along. It is very... maybe it'll change into hell stuff. Like, that is actually why I like the exploring new spaces, because, like, sometimes there are spaces you haven't thought of. Like, if we got through this door and it was like, you know, the Kirby Fountain of Time or whatever, I might not have been expecting that. Okay, a door that has kind of like another kind of room and an enemy behind it whom you shoot, I could have expected that. But the idea that I finally get to see that answer, and it's like, okay, the answer was something I could have guessed, but it is like relieving, right? Like the idea of having a question and having a gap in knowledge and never getting the answer, that builds tension. And it's the satisfaction comes from finally like relieving that tension by being given the answer, by filling in the gap, you know? Got these tall crates. Who was the understudy of Socrates. Ah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know where we are, because that's here. So we're finally just sort of up and around here on this balcony. That's cool. And so, like, this is kind of the same kind of thing, because we saw this upstairs balcony from before, and it sort of implies, like, you could be here, and there's going to be stuff here. And it's like, wow, really? And so now we're getting around to exploring it, and we had to work for this answer because we had to go and find keys and fight bosses and do whatever. And okay, this... See, okay, here's the real reward, is that we're getting these little, like, narrative pieces of, like, hey, some stuff is happened here. What does this do? Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There's something about, like, noises that let you know that actions are occurring off screen is comedy to me. Okay, so we did that. Let's open this. But this is a ladder. I gotta check out the ladder. Oh, and we're finally up here, and this is that med pack that we saw when we first came out, because here are the dogs, that's the door to our living room, what have you. Great, all the space is finally explored, and we've opened this door, which is basically... Oh god, is this what's going to connect us? Yeah, I bet you it is. This is what's finally going to connect us to the set piece across the way from the balcony that we... Again, something we saw last game, and, you know, we did not have the chance to sort of explore and answer and go, how do we get there? We were left with that question. We're finally getting the answer. And there's something to be said for, like, storytelling, like, general storytelling advice, you know, pacing advice, whatever, but, like, you want to have like a coding bracket style of questions. It's like you have a big question, and then you sort of like, then smaller questions sort of like get in the way of answering that question, and then you start answering them back out. So it's like, hey, here's a big question, here's a smaller question before that. We're going to answer the small question, then we're going to answer the big question. So there is, even though they weren't introduced in that order, we're not answering them in like reverse chronological order, but we are sort of answering them in like reverse priority order. So like, hey, where is the yellow key? What's behind this door? That was sort of like a seemingly small question. And the big question was, hey, what's going on with the city on fire over there? And in answering them in this reverse order, we are getting around to this idea of, well, implied door. Oh yeah, no, there can't be anything there. Well, you can do a lot in the Doom engine these days. But like what we are answering is like, okay, behind the yellow door is the way to get over to that city on fire. And now that we're getting over to the city on fire, we will be able to get this explanation of, hey, what's up with that city on fire? You know what I mean? Um, Also a question I'm very psyched to explore. Okay. Well, I want to make sure nothing's going to bite my toes. Oh, we can just get up. Oh, there's a ledge that helps us get up there. Oh, hey, more rockets. Remember we could see rockets from over here? Here we go. You just walk all the way over and it's hidden under the water. That's good. That's a good secret. That's an easy secret. I like that. Yeah, but we had a land way, a dry way of getting over there, so I want to take this way. Yeah, because it's just right here anyway. Okay, if I want that to come down from topside, I can go that way. Okay, good. Oh, and that was a battery too, wasn't it? Hey, look! I can see my house from here. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Box? I'm doing okay. We're checking this out. This is part 2 of the one we looked at last week. So if you feel like you're missing something here today, don't worry about it. Check out last week too before you catch up on this one. Although I do want to point one thing out. If you weren't here at the start, you didn't get to hear that I actually made a bunch of new emotes. Half of which you get to use just for being following the channel. So I'm pretty hyped about those. Let's see here. Other than that, I don't know. I've been like busy actually getting things done lately, but that also means I've been sleepy. Blue skull. Thanks. I also oh. Uh-oh. Hey, did OBS just freeze? Wait. OBS is moving. Yeah, now we're talking. If you use the... Boy, OBS just froze on my end, but the video is playing. The audio is responding. It says we're streaming, but it says we're not recording? I could have swore I... Oh, is that why OBS messes up? Hang on. Okay, that's... Alright, I know the issue going on. Also, it seems I'm not recording this one locally. That's bad. That's fine. I can just pull down from Twitch. Great, so it's that kind of day today. Actually, I hit the wrong keys before. That's what happened. Yeah, I hit the wrong keys before. Okay, well, I'm recording... Ooh. No, what if I don't record? Because that made the game choke up a lot. Okay. Okay. Oh, I really gotta... I wonder if I could, like, technically set it up to multi-stream, but one of the streams is just a local recorder. I wonder if that would actually... Because then... Whoa. Then... Something. Okay, we learned last time these are doors. Alright, they're still doors. Okay, that did something. Big boy up there. Don't want to deal with him. So I will just give him rockets. And that loops. But it's fine now. Yeah, well, so my Windows input is busted all of a sudden for the moment. But the point is there's also versions of all the emotes with the DooM helmet on. Which, if you use your your brand script. If you use your channel points, you can unlock those. Hmm. Okay, blue key, can't get to it. We hit a switch that raised these, which actually feels like, oh, hey, do we need to get up there and leap across? We might have to leap across now. That's cool. I've never felt comfortable with the, like, okay, so that's just gonna, yep, that's elevator button. What? Okay. Leap out this window? Yes. Well, we gotta explore in here first. I've never, okay, it's just fake doors. But you see what I mean, though? Even fake doors made me assume that there was, like, good reason to check around in here to see if any of those doors worked. Okay, so actually lining up the button such that you can see it in the path you need to jump over, that's pretty smart. Okay, I'm gonna guess I need to run here and it'll lift back up. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I actually can't drop in there. That's what. Whoa, hi. I'm gonna hit this. Okay, now this one's dropping. Okay, yeah, no. I don't even know what I've set free. Oh, where did y'all come from? Also, there's a one of you here. Oh, God. No, I need you to take all the damage first so I don't waste damage dropping to other folks. There. Yeah, we were talking about that, how, like... I say we. I've been sitting here by myself all this time. It's fine. I'm perfectly happy to sit by myself and talk to myself. But talking about how it's only a problem if you don't sort of like reserve specific door textures for decorative doors. Because if some are decorative and some actually work, but they're indistinguishable from each other until you sort of like go out of your way to try them, then kind of the thing that you learn is, depending on which way they go, you either learn, hey, trying these doors is pointless because most of them are decorative, or you learn, I gotta waste my time trying all these doors because some of them aren't just decorative, you know? Okay, well, I got a cool thing. I should save there because we're in good position right now. Oh. Oh. Is that also a leap over and falling into there is how we're going to get there? Okay. If a regular map was trying to pull something like this, where the like puzzle challenge of the room was sort of like noticing alternate paths to go across, especially like kind of like, I don't know, the run and fall off onto another high ledge has never read to me like a comfortable, intuitive pathing route. But the fact that these maps have focused on, you know, less about major combats and more about sort of this puzzle explory element, like the fact that this is like the main, or I guess kind of a main, because yeah, as soon as you put an archvile in, you've made a big combat. But having this be like the kind of primary challenge is figuring out, oh, you can jump over here. It's not just about the button, and this is the way you need to go. Like solving that puzzle of noticing and recognizing, I'm pretty fine with that. One, two, three. Okay, four. And I actually kind of like it. Like, yeah, exactly. We were talking about the two that like some of the best like secret walls are the ones that are clearly marked, but subtly. Like you even look at the original Doom, and it's always like, hey, here's a clean wall, but this strip has moss on it for whatever reason, or this strip has a discoloration. Like that's the one you wanna go for. Okay, what are we doing? We just did all that. We just got the blue. I wonder. So there's this big sigil on the ceiling. I wonder. It's very clean. Everything about the Demon Invasion has been like cracks so far, but cracks using this kind of red molten sort of texture. But this one is clean, so I actually don't know quite how to interpret this. I kind of hope we see that on like, if we go to like a demon headquarters, that sigil is there too. Oh, you know what? I know we used NoClip to fly over here last time, but I'm really curious if the layout is even like 90%. There's like a smoke tornado in there. That's something. I wonder how much the actual layout of this zone has changed. I don't remember it. I don't remember having so many staircases to actually make the different like levels accessible. Here we go. Now we can... Did I explore back here? Is there anything to explore back here? This is how we got up here. If we didn't go around that way. Okay. Great. I knew I'd never been in here. Why wasn't I ready to shoot? I was going to run out first. My ammo or their health? Their health. Okay. Oh! Hey! Good chance to refill all that chain gun ammo I just used. There was a third one. You're the third one. Ooh, that's a... That looks like a Korn album cover. And this dude's super psyched to be hanging on the wall. Another really good, like, kind of like casual, realistic interior. Couch. Coffee table. Well, it's a tape recorder. And I love the like cereal boxes. These are tall cabinets. The top of the counter is at eye height. Then again, anything less and like up to like, I want to say this is maybe 4 or 5 steps up from the floor. The step being like 8 units usually. I had the name before the band did, so of course I had to keep an eye on what they were doing. Freak on a Leash. No, I always forget which is the music video that has the slow motion bullet. Is that Freak on a Leash, or is that I can't think of any other song names, except for, and this one is more of a cut because it's off of the album. I don't think it had a music video, or definitely not any radio play. But All in the Family, which had Limp Bizkit on the track, and it was like a weird duet. That's how much I've listened to Korn, is that I can call that one off the dome. Ooh. Okay, like a bedroom up here. Is this Poison like a wall poster? It said in a poster. But I like the wall mounted TV. Everybody puts a TV at the foot of their bed. I don't know. I like a TV off to the side because I lay on my side and look at the TV. I don't like sitting in bed and looking down because then your chin does the thing, and that's not only does it look unpleasant like that, but also I find it just uncomfortable. Wow, this is... I really like this. Oh, we gotta drop this way. This is our one way in. But it's nice. This is a one way in, but what it also is it's a moment to like really be on the... get this like nice high look and sort of scope everything out before you jump in. Also, it's probably a good chance to quick save. I had an interaction on Twitter this morning. Everybody strap in. Where somebody was like, "Help! Does anybody have knowledge of the Nintendo 64?" At which point, I turned into dust. I melted into sand like the mummy in The Mummy. Because they were talking about the N64 as if it is some sort of ancient relic of a forgotten civilization. It's like, we just unearthed this from a tomb. It's a Nintendo 64. If we speak to the sage elders, perhaps we can activate it once again and save the realm. And I'm like, dude, chill. It's a game console. Yes, it's older than a 360, but chill. And, but they were just like, hey, I'm scared it's broken. I'm scared I just bought something that's broken. I turn it on and a black screen. It's just a black screen. And I'm like, yo, that's all right. Chill. Did you reseat the cartridge? And they were just like, oh, it needs to have a cartridge in it to boot up. And I lost it. I was just like, you must be 4 years old, because clearly to you this is an ancient relic from a past civilization, and like, God, yes, that face, exactly. I rarely keyboard mash, but when I do, it's when somebody says, "Oh, I need to put a cartridge in my N64." Like, I can tell you exactly where my N64 is because it is upstairs, in my Demon Door. Love that. This was not in the decorative version in the last one. That's fine. My N64 is upstairs in my... Ow! Whoa! Okay, Pain Tornado. That was my nickname in college. Wait, that's weird, because that means if it deals damage, it could be an enemy type? Can I shoot a tornado dead? Oops. What was I saying? My N64 is up in my entertainment center, and it is not currently hooked up to the TV, but only because, since the SNES, the N64, and the GameCube can all use the same cable, I have the one cable hooked up, and I think right now is plugged into... Ooh, what did I play last? It was either the SNES or the GameCube. Or maybe it's just curled up and waiting, ready to go. Man, I've been thinking about playing some F-Zero X again lately. That one, all my cartridges are in the drawer next to the entertainment center. And F-Zero X is like pressed against the front of the drawer where I can see it. F-Zero X, that fell and I just walked off of it. That's fine. Right next to Bomberman Hero, because I think those two were my favorite. I was so bummed with the N64. Like, to me, the N64 experience is having a bunch of mediocre games for one reason or another. Like, I didn't have Mario Kart 64. I didn't have Mario 64. I didn't have GoldenEye. Like, I didn't have, like... And, like, now we're getting already into, like, second stringers. Like, I didn't have Space Station Silicon Valley. I did, but no, I assume I need to hit this. Oh, the demon door opened. Uh-oh. I got it. Because I bought the special edition of Doom Eternal, so I do have it on Steam. I don't know if that's a good port. Honestly, I haven't played it. It's definitely on my list of things to play on this stream because, like, while it is, you know, sort of a canonical Doom release, let's say, I never played it. I know it's a completely different level set. It was a port, but it was kind of built from the ground up, so it even has like different enemies and stuff, I believe, right? And different well, it opened like 3 doors over here. So there's actually like a lot of differences in that one. So I'm really curious about it. And it is a oh, that's not a Okay, fine. All right, only one way to go. Good. It wasn't like a. It's not the common experience of Doom. You think of Doom, you think of Doom 1, Episode 1, and Shareware, and Doom 2, and you don't think of Doom 64. I'll tell you what, though. The one that actually gets me is Quake 2. Because the same thing happened to Quake 2. There was the PC version, and then there was an N64 port. And the N64 port was actually, like, pretty good, but again, it had a completely unique level set. So that is another one that, like, I played a decent amount of that, but I only ever beat it because I think I had N64 Quake 2 before I had regular Quake 2. And so I didn't beat Quake 2 until I was playing it on the PC. And even then I spent more time in the multiplayer anyway, but like that's another one where like, oh, we have this like completely unique level experience, if not like mechanical system experience, because it is Quake 2 is a shotgun, super shotgun, machine gun, BFG, railgun, you know, all of that's still in there. They might not all be identical, but there's the BFG work differently, as I recall. Oh, we're just going deeper into hell. That's cool. I like rooms like this where it's like one elevator, but just like different sections fall down each time. You make multiple stops on the way down. Okay, that's a red key. I'm gonna save right here. That's that's actually another one which I've considered like doing, you know, as part of this stream, just being like, oh, we're gonna check out the oft unknown N64 Quake 2 campaign. Is there anybody else here I really want to focus on? No, I just used up all my rockets. No, I like to save this for like Revenants and... Okay, there's some rockets. Okay, wait, here we go. Or is this gonna get us out? Oh, you're the one who was shooting fireballs at us from I couldn't tell where. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do definitely want to play Doom 64 though. Ow. Doom 64, Quake 2 64. Isn't there another one? There's probably also like a N64 port of like Hexen or something, right? I believe that. Am I just supposed to run? Oh, hi. There's... Oh, no. I heard the fire cackle. Where is you? You're up there. This is what I want to be using this on. I hope I'm hitting him. I'm mostly not hitting him. Damn it. Okay, so does this hurt? Oh, God, this is a bad place to be now. Okay. Actually, I'm thinking I might do that for a Saturday stream, is just pull a couple of the N64 games that I had. Here we go. This is where I want to go. Good. Now we can handle dudes, shotgun, effective ranges. Oh. Just go here. Thank you. All right. Now I'm feeling confident. Here we go. Here we go. What? Rude! I love the subversion. That's just a joke. That's barely a challenge. It's definitely a joke, though. I love it. What's right here? Nothing I want. Ow. Woo! Revenants. I think you're also worth spending this ammo on. If the... Oh, I died! That's okay, we're up here. Now I know things. I keep touching that tornado. Two. 3 hits. Need to stop taking hits. What's the phrase? Unforced error? You. Did you fall down? No. Did you fall down? No. God, it's because of the angle. I'm wasting so much ammo doing that. Okay. Let's get out of here. Don't touch the tornado. Bye. I'm going to push past him. I'm going to tuck in here. I'm going to... Oh! Oh! Alright, I'm going to save right here. See, this doesn't even have to be like a big group for this to be challenging, because just the way everybody is placed and the ammo we have available, it's like, it is hard because we are not in a state of optimal preparedness to deal with this dude. This dude? All these dudes? Still have no idea what that did. I'm gonna do this. Step in. We're going to try and focus shots on those boys. Yeah, alright, I'll deal with this. I mean, it was nice and exploratory, like, last time, in part 1. This one is definitely... Especially, like, I do like this as a difficulty heightener. The fact that we've gotten more cramped, not a lot more enemies, but just they are positioned so that they are harder to fight. But I do miss... Okay, so wait, I got a red key. I still don't know what I needed a red key for. Well, maybe I can get out of here now, and we'll use a red key. Oh, this whole thing. Hey, the tornado's gone. Were the tornadoes wandering around? Are you the same tornado? The tornadoes move. They are enemies. Okay. It's coming for me. Oh, that was the finish line. Okay. Huh. Okay. Huh. We want to come back to this one. And do info. Oh, yeah, I could do that. No, yeah, that's not backseating. That is a tool I did not know I had available to me. Also, I don't know if I'm that... I do like the idea that, you know, I do like when custom enemies are there, but I'm, of course, way more interested in, like, their behaviors and way that they are novel in terms of game experience than in terms of, you know, what their sort of code engineering structures are. Boy, that ended on a... Well, it ended on a set piece. But it was definitely a set piece that we were, like, working through more than... Felt kind of shorter, maybe? I mean, yeah, because if we're like 90 minutes into this stream, that was definitely most of the time has been my talking over the actual game. It was shorter. We finally got to see what was behind that door. That was a big thing, but that was like also maybe the most satisfying part of it. I do like before we got to sort of the back half of that diorama set piece, whatever it was. Um, Everything up to that. So uh, going from the house and through the office, recontextualizing all of that. That was really good. Um, Building out the zone around the house and office. Those were actually really good segments to work through. They wrapped in nice ways. They used switches and like windows in a nice way. Uh, what happened after that? We did all of that. Then we finally got to go through that door. That was a big moment. Uh, Turning that sort of what was previously just backdrop, turning that into a playable segment. Um, Worked pretty well. I think they made something that was interesting to walk through. The like everything right up to that final drop into the penultimate area. That was all pretty fantastic. I was really happy with that. It felt like walking around, if not like a realistic kind of area, a very sort of believably fake kind of area. I don't know if that means anything, but um, I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed the way the mechanics of progressing through it. Um, that last bit felt a little maybe rushed. Maybe it, it felt like we spent a lot of time progressing through, but then the thing that we were progressing to was just this final little bit of um, also work through. Like the elevator going down and then finally revealing this big hell wall. That was good, but it also didn't feel like a big fight. It was this cramped space that we had to work through. But that's the thing, we worked through it. It didn't necessarily feel like we. Oh, it took me a couple of tries, so maybe we did overcome it because it wasn't you know it wasn't a pushover. It required specific ways of addressing certain segments. Um, but also then something about like going through all of that and um going through all that, and then the actual end of the level was takes this weird unassuming elevator back up to outside and push this weird brick that was sitting there on the side unmenacingly the whole time. Like it felt like there was no like catharsis at the end, right? Like we were working towards something all this way, and then there wasn't really anything at the end of it. Like and I'm not saying it needed to be like a big boss fight, or some big fight arena or anything like that, but this idea of like these maps have been so good at sort of like crafting narration into the level design about like, oh, you're working through this, you're going through these areas. The ending of the last map was didn't have like a big moment of release, but did have this great denouement. That's like, it's like, oh, you're here, we're having this decompression, and then this sort of cliffhanger of like, oh, by the way, the city is on fire over there, you're gonna have to, something has to be done about that, and then part two is dealing with that. Like, that is a great setup and transition point. um yeah, I like a I do like a weather effect classified as an enemy entity. I do like that. The tornado is coming for you. um but it just had it what could it have used? Like a similar kind of thing. Like there was this weird ending on the last map where it's honestly same kind of thing. Um, where the actual like finale where you get the painting and then immediately jump into the teleporter to get back to the base, like it didn't feel like a climactic moment, but at least what you were working through the whole time, what your reward for working through it, what you made it to, was this very like finely detailed and like thoroughly flavorful set piece at the end, you know. um and that was fantastic. And if this had something like that, like if you made it through the um like honestly, you take that weird square that we placed it, that we went backwards to go touch the end level, and you just make it so that like instead of grabbing the red key, what was up there was a teleporter, and you touch the teleporter and we go to this like, I don't know, this big contrasting open space, maybe this like, you know, open sky full on hell, like you teleported to the hell zone, like you breached across the line, and then there was this box on a pedestal, like you know, same kind of thing. Like if the strength is in the the sort of decoration and like the scene crafting, you can end with that. Again, you the thing you're working towards can be the reward, the finale of another really finely crafted set piece, and that'd be fine. And this one, just like the fact that we went backwards to touch the exit button boggles me. Or the fact that we went backwards a little. We took one step backwards. If it was something else where like we did all that and then we had to work our way like all the way back to, I don't know, the office again, and there was a secret button in there that just had a sign that said like emergency demon invasion protocol, or even do it again, do it like a cliffhanger and just be like distress beacon launch, and like you were actually doing all of that to get the key to then go back and launch the beacon, and that's setting up for this. You don't even have to follow through on it, but this idea of like hey, there is something that will come after this, right? Like I don't know. I think that's I do think it's really hard to do like climactic story ending moments in games, because you look at, you know, you look at games as systems, and oftentimes an element of a system is that it is like repeatable, it is about looping, you know. So the idea of like a game that ends, a game that has like a climax and an ending, like I think a lot of games do that with their stories for sure, but in turn, like when you're doing it here, like just in a map, just in like you have a boss fight and then the game's over. All right, yeah, a lot of times we have that. Um, Sometimes I think it's hard to make that really satisfying, but you know, we it's been done for sure. But my point being, like, okay, well, if you don't have like, if you don't feel like you can pull off a big like set piece like satisfying ending, um the idea of making the ending being, you know, the transition point into the hook for the next loop, what do you ever follow through on that loop? The idea of like, this ends the way the rest of them ends, which is ready for the next one. um and I'd be fine with that. That would at least feel right, because it's what we're used to by the nature of game loops, you know. Um, yeah, I love porting, um, like cross media. Like I love taking. Well, you know, we when talking about when we played Action Doom, which was trying to be like a Contra, when we played the Castlevania, which was trying to be Castlevania, and like seeing how that ported. But like I also love like Like a thing I would love to see is like, hey, how do we take like a specific episode of like Seinfeld and make that a Doom map? That is something I would love to see. Um, Shoot, I might have to try and make that happen now. The worst part of that idea is that I would have to watch Seinfeld to figure it out. I hate Seinfeld. Um, oh, I don't know Urban Brawl. Oh, I gotta look that up now. I'm gonna keep the chat up because I can't click on anything for some reason. Oh, word? Oh, I definitely gotta look at that then. Um, but yeah, like I'm not gonna say like that's not an ending that brought the whole thing down. It's not like it it was building up towards something big and then delivered a wet fart. It's not like that. It's not bad, but it was like man, y'all ever see The Gray? Because that is a movie that spends the whole time building up towards this idea of like having to fight a wolf, and then it's like as soon as that fight's about to begin, it cuts to credits. Like that's the thing. This felt like the equivalent of like a as soon as what you think is the climax is about to start, cut to credits, you know, or like mid climax or something. This was just like a sort of like a weird awkward cut to credits. Like at least in The Gray, I think it made sense because um like the whole point of that movie was not about the fight. The whole point of that movie was about resolving the conflict within yourself of is having the fight worth it. And the thing is that movie ends after he has decided, yes, having this fight is worth it. That is the conflict that the movie was concerned with. The actual fight with the wolf doesn't matter. Which I pretty sure nobody else in the theater with me that day understood that about the movie. They were all just pissed that we didn't get to see the fight with the wolf. But like something like that, like changing, because Doom is a system, because Doom is, we are working with a lot of like, established, because we were working with an established tool set that was, built to do this like one specific thing, and it's already been stretched. Like anytime it does something else, that is a stretch, and that is impressive that it is doing something other than that thing. But that's the thing, because it's hard, because it's not intended for that. It is very hard to make like a Doom map that is about something other than fighting through demons and getting to like a boss fight at the end, and about the struggle of gunning through enemies. Like it is hard to make a Doom map that is about something else, and that makes sense to, or maybe not even that it's about something else, but that is what this system is designed to work towards and have as a climax. It is really hard to make any other element, the climactic moment, right? Not saying it's impossible, just saying you really got to like change your perspective in order to make that happen. And like it's one of those things. The way this level ended didn't ruin the level. It didn't deliver something that didn't match. It didn't deliver something that brought the rest down. It just sort of didn't. It just sort of stopped delivering right near the end and decided to end early. And that's like, oh, okay, I guess. What was there was good, but it did feel like it was missing a piece at the end. I guess is all I'm saying. Which, hey, um, I was telling this to a friend the other day, but like, there's a difference between, just because it could have been better doesn't mean it was ruined. There is a big difference between ruining something and making something that could have been better. And if you can't make something, the best, and if you can't get something exactly right, don't be ashamed to deliver something that could have been better. There's no shame in that. That is something that is done is better than perfect. I started talking about this. Done is better than perfect, and could have been better is leagues above ruined, you know? Okay, taking Doom. Well, that's just Doom 2 if Doom 1 had, ended with a ransom note instead of a rabbit head on a spike, right? Otherwise, exactly the same. That was, no. Um, 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 that's Golden Souls 2. That's literally what it does. At the beginning of the game, you and Daisy are like at your house having tea, and a cyber demon busts in and takes Daisy and leaves a ransom note, and the rest of the game is traversing to try and get her back. So they they did Doom Taken, but it was also Mario. God, I got. All right, so now I'm thinking maybe next week we'll look at Doom 64 because I got it around, haven't looked at it yet. I am curious about it, but maybe that's a good enough reason to go back to Golden Souls 2. I think last time I played that I said maybe I would play some of it off stream because like for something we're showing off, like the worlds were too long. It's like, oh, too many of levels that are too similarly themed in a row, and it just was like getting kind of boring. But like, I could play some of that on my own time, and we just jump in the middle of like each different world and see 2 or 3 levels, and then we could get through it. And then I'd be playing it more than once a week, so we'd get through it faster, reach the end sooner. That's something like that. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe, but that implies I play games in my free time, which I don't. When I have free time, I sit around and going, I'm wasting time. I should be working on something. Why am I not working on something? I'm wasting so much time. That's how I spend my free time. It's terrible. I do not recommend it. Okay, but I think that's gonna do it for this week. Especially because I would do well to go get lunch soon. And I think I have some other things I need to get done today. I don't know. I'll find that out as soon as I stand up. Right, I can't click anything out there for some reason. Um, Great. I want to thank everybody for hanging out. I had a good time. I hope you did too. And until next time I see you, get vaccinated, get boosted. Don't give a virus a foothold to stick around. Although with the Omicron that can reinfect you, it sounds like we might be too late for that, and it got it fucked around too long and it figured it out. Stay home if you can. Preventing exposure prevents spread. If you do have to go out, wear a mask. Your mask protects others, their mask protects you. Wash your hands. It's just good hygiene. Amplify the voices of the oppressed. Recognize power dynamics, because those who claim to be oppressed, a lot of times if you're hearing them say that, they're not being oppressed. The oppressed voices are generally harder to hear, unless you're among them, because then you're one of them. That's I'm still a little stuck on actually how to follow through on that one. Remember, neutrality doesn't exist. It supports the oppressor. It allows the oppressor to continue. And the rule that underlines the rest of these rules is take care of one another. I'll see you next time.